Hey, and welcome to Jamflix and Chill. Tonight's the last night. Thank you for coming to watch. Tonight we've got two games, Soul Castle with Gunzil, Rinoa, and Will, aka Ultigonio. And later on, we've also got Mahreo with Forer. I'm going to go ahead and start up Soul Castle now. Not going to accidentally turn off the stream like I just did. This is a professional production. So, guys, how did you get the idea for Soul Castle?
Yeah, the main concept we thought was basically like after a bunch of things like Castlevania, where basically at some point during the game, instead of going, oh, what a terrible night for a curse, you'd go, what a terrible night for a bootleg, and then become some sort of horrible bootleg amalgam thing, and you'd kind of switch between a dual world thing. And dual worlds are a lot of effort, so it's not quite that, but that was the initial premise. So we were trying to do something kind of Castlevania Soulsy, where it's like very explicit, specific gameplay, as opposed to something more kind of hack and slashy. Which is why you're very slow. You have like the little dash, but that's about it for mobility.
They were mentioning on the Gong Show stream very deliberate movement, which is very Soulsy. You want to commit. You want to commit to your movement.
One goal we had for this was that, while we did want to do a platformer, we didn't want it to feel like every other platformer. I know a challenge that some people come across with game development is making platformers feel unique or specific. So we were trying with that. However, I know, like, obviously during the Gong Show, one of the complaints they had was that the movement was too slow and it was so just difficult, I suppose. So I'm not sure that that was a success. But it was certainly our intention.
I wonder if maybe responsiveness in some ways had an impact on how they felt that it was too slow. It's always really hard to tell, because you can have controls that feel slow and yet feel great and responsive. But when you're having people play it, such as on the Gong Show, their comments can be borderline vague.
Yeah, it seemed like what happened was like Internet Janitor opened with something like, I thought this had the worst game feel of the block, and that kind of set this tone where immediately the expectation is that it feels bad. So, you know, that's what they're going to kind of riff on. But there wasn't really anything specific, just that it felt bad for some reason.
Yeah,
it's always hard to pinpoint that when it comes to platformers. Anyway, go on.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just
yeah, no,
it.
I can definitely see where the initial how do I put it? It definitely does feel slow at first, but once you learn that you can dash out of your attack, like, what is it, dash cancel? It would be called. It starts getting a bit more mobile.
Yeah, and I don't really communicate any of that at all, other than through some written instructions that aren't really there.
For me, the point where it clicked was about when I realized that I could get a second swing in, and the second swing is much quicker, and it means that your gameplay is a little bit more about predicting when these jabby skeletons are going to swipe at you, rather than trying to react to their swipes.
I did notice that you
and
get a second swipe.
Yeah.
You can do like a swipe slash.
Another point that oh no. Another point that they complained about, it was funny. They're like, it'd be really nice if there was a jump. And it's interesting because an initial incarnation of this, it did have a jump. And then we decided to drop it for just having the simple dash, because we were afraid that once the jump was just faster than walking, and we didn't want people to just jump through the game, you know? So I don't know. Again, it especially this level, I think this is the hardest level, and maybe it was a mistake to make it as hard as it was. But I don't know. We'll see if we get through it, right?
Oh, definitely.
It was actually, for me, it was kind of funny. Like, even as a developer on the project, I was kind of a quasi playtester because I would get new builds and I'd try them out, and I didn't really have any stuff that I did for designing these levels or the game mechanics. So I was basically a playtester when it came to that. And for me, the increased length I thought was a good thing because I liked how the enemy encounters became more varied. I felt that it gave the levels a little bit more of a round off rather than an almost game jam-esque short length, if you will.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that if you're having trouble with these controls, if you're not able to quite grasp them, the levels are just too long. And it's really hard to strike that balance. And I imagine maybe a checkpoint system. I've had issues with levels with no checkpoints in other games that I've made, and so it's hard to tell where exactly you should draw the line for your difficulty and for your level's length.
Ooh, I made that.
Whew.
Nice.
The one thing it does give is tension.
This section in particular I quite like. I like that even if you don't get up on the top, it's kind of an interesting challenge of having to deal with the guys on the bottom while dodging the bones from the top. I like it. I think it's neat, but
It is nice to have the two paths, but there's no way I'm going down there with the stabby guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I figured out we could jump over the top. Well, and we played through it, of course, like dozens of times. And I feel like maybe that was a problem because we got good at it. So we didn't realize. Well, yeah, because you don't realize how hard you're making it.
The Super Mario Brothers 2 problem, where they made the sequel to their game and they were already really good at it, so they made the game even harder than the first, and they didn't realize exactly how hard it was.
Yeah, they ended
the
up in a
Japanese
bunch
one.
of poison mushrooms into spots that are really tough to avoid. So you're already dead as soon as you pop that thing out.
And they said, gosh, this game is too easy.
Wasn't there a similar problem with, what was that Persona spin-off? The one with the sheep and the...
Catherine?
Catherine! Yeah, where they just got super good at it, and they're like, whatever, let's just make it as hard as possible.
Yeah. You gotta throw like outside playtesters at your game all throughout development periods. You gotta introduce new playtesters. You gotta do things like that. It's hard. It's hard,
I think I'm missing
especially
a
in the
dash.
jam game setting because. Oh, are you only getting one back?
Oh, yep, I'm only getting
You
one.
might
my
still
gosh.
have two. It might just be the graphic is messed up. Or maybe you only do have one, which is an interesting bug I have not encountered before.
We did have one person play test this game other than Will, and they had mentioned that happened too, but we couldn't get them to recreate it. So
Oh, those are the best bugs. the ones
it's
they never
interesting that
repro.
you created it.
I have an idea of how that happened just because of how I wrote it, but I didn't know if it was possible or not.
And yeah, Forer mentioned the Ratchet and Clank developers practicing the game with the controller upside down, and yeah, that's something I recall as well. It'll probably be basically you have to look for a way to handicap yourself if you're gonna try to playtest your own game and kind of see how a new player handles it.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious because you guys mentioned earlier that every once in a while, when you guys work on your games, you get playtesters to stream it. How do you get people to do that?
Let's see. For me, I don't even like. I've got a number of close friends who already have familiarity with recording programs and things like that. So it's pretty easy to just say, hey, I have a game. Could you playtest this for me? And they got lots of free time, so they're like, yeah, sure, why not? I guess it's mainly just having a network of friends who are willing to do that for you.
Yeah, so it took a while to figure out what the bootleg actually would be, and we kind of obviously there's Siva Gunner memes happening here, if you know anything about that whole community. Yeah, which like with bootleg, I wanted to have that somehow, but like we figured we just have Woodman was like trying to hack the game and sell it, so that's what the like kind of background story was. We were gonna we had thoughts about doing some kind of weird creepypasta thing, but we figured we'd do something kind of silly, and I'm still a little tilted because I thought this in particular would stream really well on Gong, and then it was late in the night and they didn't have the patience. But
Gong Show definitely
either way, I'm
follows
still
a
satisfied.
format that I'm familiar with, because when I used to do playtesting for my games way back in the day, we were taught the method of you do two things when you have somebody playtest your game. One, you let them play and you don't give any advice at all. Just watch them play. If they're going past a secret or something, don't guide them towards it. And also, if you want them to have any instructions that aren't provided in the game, write it on a note card, put it next to the computer, and let them go at it.
Yeah, I had a
And
rule of
sit
thumb.
back. Because let me tell you,
there
it
were
is the
times
most
where
frustrating thing ever. But you learn so much.
There were a few times where I would get myself into a situation where I would be in a call with the person playtesting the game, and in that sort of situation, I would say nothing, and if they had something that they were kind of like really stuck on, I'd just kind of go, And if they really needed to know something, if something really wasn't communicated properly, I would tell them, and then I would write it down. Because if I had to say something, something was wrong.
Exactly.
So this is my favorite part of the whole game. Coming up in just a sec.
I don't know, dead. So was there anything in the game that you guys had to cut that you still wish was in the game? Or did you manage to get everything in that you scoped?
it's hard to tell because I'm kind of continuously rescoped to something I think I could finish in a reasonable amount of time. Like, I'm pretty happy with what we have here.
Yeah, I think, well, we had wanted to make several enemy types. And as it worked out, we only really had time to make, well, I only had time to animate the skeletons, then do the reskin. We actually had the brigand, mountain brigands do some of the reskins, and then I handled Inspector Gadget here. But it would have been nice to have more enemy types.
Right on. Are you planning on doing more work on this after the jam?
We're hoping to take kind of some of the concepts and apply them to like another game, but I think this will probably be self-contained as its own experience. It's also very important that you join the Wooden Man.
Oh
There's
yeah,
an ending choice.
there's a choice coming to you.
Oh, do I have to click?
Yeah, which is not anywhere else in the game. This is the only time. So, you're.
Oh my God, he said
I
no.
rejected
Now you don't get to listen to Gunzil drunkenly singing with some Near Automata music.
Oh, I should have picked the other one. That's alright, I can probably
That's
go there to
okay.
the CN real quick.
It's
Yeah.
okay, we got 13 minutes.
I'm sure now you're a master.
It's like playing
originally,
Mega Man.
Oblivion.
this was the only ending where we were trying to do like this edgelord thing the entire time, and it was like the final day, and Rinoa wrote this ending, and I went, like this is on theme, but I want there to be another ending. And then if you restart the game, because now there's just a white screen forever.
Oh, okay, I was just pressing stuff
yeah.
to try to restart it.
Yeah, I actually added that choice in specifically because I wanted to have some sort of alternate ending that isn't just the knight dying and his world like blowing up or whatever, which we may be able to see.
Hopefully I can get through it a bit faster this time.
You can press
Yeah.
S to skip.
Sweet.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. There you go.
Does it also work on the between level scenes?
What was that?
No, it doesn't. I don't think.
Oh, dang.
It does not, as I am lazy.
Crunch time harms a man's soul.
Yeah, except it does allow me to sing a poor cover of Nier Automata. So pro tips for getting through this game fast. Let's see. If you ever get past a skeleton, they will never turn around. So if you like attempt to dash over skeletons, you can try and avoid combat fairly easily. If you manage to jump on the skeleton, they will die instantly.
Really, I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a goop.
Well, and initially our intention was to make him very heavy and just like slow, but also very powerful. So initially, like when he had a jump, that was a way to destroy and kill skeletons. But again, when we took that out, it became less of a thing.
It's a rare interaction, but I did want to make sure that, well, okay, it half works. It doesn't work like very well. Sometimes you slide off the skeleton, and sometimes you crush them in a satisfying way. And then the other thing is that when they're hopping around, you can usually kind of swing your axe and have them run into it. And when they do, if they do 3 jumps, they're going to basically like stab across the screen.
Oh, kind of dashing diagonally up forward 2 times gets you in a good spot to hit them without them hitting you.
Yeah.
Pro tips.
Yeah, there is actually some strategy here, and it's kind of cool. And it's a difficult thing too, because it's sort of because of the sluggish controls that strategy is allowed to come out.
Well, I'm actually curious. See, it feels real good. But good luck not getting hit.
Oh my god!
Oh, you did it!
Well, almost. There's the other one. Ugh.
Yeah, I got this.
But a question I have, like, again, because Gong Show just hated this game so much, I was thinking, like, oh, did we make a mistake doing the slower, more, like, how could we have improved the controls to make it just feel better, while still maintaining some level of strategy and some, like, intentionality?
I think, ironically enough, what we might have needed was a tutorial that John would then have not played.
For me, obviously when it comes to good controls, the way that what happens in like the actual game and the animations, how those things work together, I think there's a part to be played in that. And I think that maybe if instead of having the swing be slow, what you'd had is maybe that he holds the axe and then quickly swings. That may have been more responsive, but still just as slow, and may have felt more responsive. Because that's sort of what mixing animation and game design is it's sort of tricking people into thinking things are what they are not.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a certain thing to be said. Like, there's all these like kind of weird moves I added that if you like randomly mash buttons, you'd eventually figure out. But there isn't anything to like kind of visually tell you that those things are possible. Like the big ones, the dash, or having a second swing. Like you don't know that unless you just kind of try things.
Oh.
And yeah, it
Oh, we
wasn't
got to
like,
see that done.
yeah.
I've not seen that happen.
On levels 3, 4, and 5, if you die, you cartoonishly spin off screen.
I saw that. I've seen that, but I have not seen the moonwalk on his back onto the screen.
So the way this level got designed was kind of interesting in that I initially was going to paint kind of a mixture of the normal level geometry and then the kind of ripped Mega Man geometry. But I hadn't added colliders to the Mega Man geometry yet, so you just fell through it. And
that is
then,
kind of a nice touch.
yeah, that just kind of felt right as a showing it as breaking down in some way. So I left that in, and here we are.
There we go. Just goad them into the pit. That did not.
Whoa.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah, that guy likes to jump over that one real fast.
Yeah, it gets me too, because I think this level and the second level, the hardest levels, were the ones I, like, near the very end, I added more content to. So
I wish you hadn't.
Yeah, where it was like, I play tested it with people and they had beaten the game, and then I'm like, these seem a little short. Maybe I'll add some content without checkpoints. And then I think that contributed a decent amount to it, like, kind of feeling a lot harder, because obviously you have to get through more content to get to the end with fewer mistakes. So had I compensated with more health, that might have helped, maybe, or just checkpointing, etc.
Yeah.
You know, something else we could have done, just thinking about it, is, I don't know if this would work. Do the sort of determination model where you die, but you just eventually get back up again and keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, another thing that's nice to do is the, if you fail enough times, the game just kind of gives it to you, or subtly makes it easier without you necessarily knowing. Like, I think Resident Evil 4 did that, where if you died enough times against a specific boss, it would, like, just have less health or things like that.
Yeah.
So that's very complicated, and there's probably better not complicated solutions.
One thing you could do, this is a preference for me, is give a player a way to restore health during the level. This means that there are more chances where the player can feel the tension of being close to death, while still making the level easier overall.
Like wall chickens.
That's
Like
right,
wall
we
chickens.
wanted wall
Yeah.
chickens. That was something we missed. We forgot about it.
Oh, you can go up over the top. You can just fly over the
Like
top
from the
of
very
that.
beginning?
Not from the very beginning, just this part right here, if you just keep going up.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
And
I will
then you kind of have
definitely
to
cheat
drop down. If you just keep walking forward, you'll just, there you go. And then you see that little, you see that part with the wood? That's fine. You can go underneath and avoid everything.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can't go
Oh,
backwards.
okay.
Or we don't let the camera go back. You can go back, and that's kind of this weird invalid state.
I'm learning new things.
Nice, thumbs up.
There we go. On to the boss fight.
Those flags are actually the internal level design flags we use. There's like a little skull and crossbones and a little knight symbol we use on the little tile maps. And I just kind of dump those at the end of that level.
I do wish we could skip through more of the dialogue faster, and maybe that's just having played it so many times.
Yeah, but I mean, that said, like, I think that when you hit things that are a little bit tedious to you as a playtester, as you've gone through something multiple times, it might be, that's where it would generally be a good idea, probably, to say, oh, maybe you could streamline that a bit.
That is the nice thing.
I think a good
lot.
example of that.
You start seeing all the spots where it's like, it feels like it takes forever. At least having some kind of skip would work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, an example of that is if you die to this boss, this cutscene doesn't happen because I was running through this and I didn't want to watch the cutscene every time I tested the boss. So I added a very, very short version of the cutscene, and then I just checked if you had viewed the cutscene, and then it would show that version instead.
Nice.
So that was something where, because I was testing the game and I wanted to streamline it for myself, I ended up streamlining it for people playing.
Impatience leads to good game design.
By the way, I just now noticed that the background music is Inspector Gadget. Very nice with that.
Yeah, I wanted to actually say thank you, Will, because I love this track. I feel like you did such an excellent job with it, and just like incorporating it into the Inspector Gadget theme, so it's funny while still being climactic.
Yeah, that was an interesting task for me. Like I remember, nice. I didn't know he like ragdolls on the ground like that. Okay, so yeah, so for that particular track, was kind of interesting because I had this. I was like, I don't remember what my inspiration for the original track was. I think you guys said I had to do Castlevania, and I was like, okay, I'll do something kind of like Castlevania. So I did that. I did like a kind of little rock baroque thing like they do in the Castlevania games, and then Inspector Gadget was like a thing in that. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I put the Inspector Gadget theme in the track that I'd made, basically, and I mixed them together, and that was the result.
It came out wonderful, and I really hope I can find that like outside of this as well, because that would be amazing to just listen to.
Yeah, I really should release the game's soundtrack or put it up somewhere, because I know that people have asked me about the song that hopefully you pick the other choice for so that we can enjoy it.
I definitely will this time. It's Reject, right?
No. Oh God, don't play me like that.
He's trolling you.
There are consequences here. Your choice matters.
Oh no.
Oh, it's already on YouTube. Okay.
God, I love this.
I feel like I'm losing hope in my body and my soul.
Yeah, here's Gunzil just drunkenly singing.
It looks so ominous.
I don't even know what track is this.
It's the ending theme of Nier.
Oh, okay. Is it the first Nier or Automata?
Automata.
Oh, that's what I thought, because I played Nier and I didn't recognize this track.
Wooden man, are you punishing me?
I just love the lyric fixes.
Killing all skeletons.
God, I've never actually listened to this all the way through.
How much did you have to drink to do this?
It was not. It was just a little. It was like a thing where I'm like, I should record a cover of a Nier song and make that a fake Siva Gunner rip, and the end is that he's a part of Siva Gunner now.
Gunzil's natural state is shitposting, so this was not like a far leap from that.
And I was like, I don't have the energy to do this. And I went and I took a shower and I started drinking, and I went, no, it's very important that I do this.
This has to happen. I love it.
On like the final day I was putting for this
my
game.
dreams will come to life. Come to life.
And I took a Siva Gunner YouTube video and I edited the HTML to say it was like a Soul Castle like track.
Oh, I noticed.
And then once it was done, yeah, I took the screen cap of like the suggestions and dumped it in there.
Very nice.
So I felt very proud of this.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for coming on. This was great to hear about, and that song was
Yeah, thanks for having us.
fucking funny.
Yep, thank you.
All right. Next up, we're gonna have Forer on for Merioz. Hello, Forer.
Hello. Hi, my name is Four.
So tell us about Merioz.
Okay, so I was planning on staying out of the awful Summer Jam 2017 because, well, depression and fun stuff like that. And I saw the theme, and I felt like I keep trying to get out, but they keep trying to pull me back in, because flat out, bootleg is... I've tried to make kind of this game for a while ago. If you've seen, I used to post a lot of GIFs about Mega Mans. And it there was always parts of it that eluded me. I'm very new to coding. I'm very bad at it. And so just running into every little thing frustrated me, and so I get somewhere further than I did the last time and stop. And this time I figured I had known enough about like programming and doing all that stuff that I could at least quote unquote finish something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I got the fire flower.
Oh dear.
Okay, I get a bit of a rocket propulsion on the ground there.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is mostly using Unity default physics and a lot of Unity default stuff. I had it coded so that the ground is, well, tagged with ground, and you can touch the ground, and anything tagged with ground lets you jump. And then I said later, you know what? Everything's ground. Forget it. Who cares? Fireballs are ground. Who cares?
I like that little flip right into the castle.
Yeah. That one was a bug turned into a feature. I just really wanted to have that kind of end state, because I've never done that in any of my projects. So.
Yeah, usually with a lot of the jam games, endings and stuff like that usually get put in towards the end. And everything in the middle of the game jam development is just getting things working.
Yeah.
But it is so satisfying what you actually get an end condition in. Like, look at that.
Yeah, it's
you
funny
can start,
because
you can finish. It's a game.
Yeah. There's always moments like that I when you're first playing around with this, it's fun, and then you're like, but this isn't complete. It doesn't feel right. Nothing feels right. And eventually you put in the right combination of things. You put in the right pictures, you put in the right, and it just magically clicks all of a sudden, and you're like, wow. This level, the underground one, was... You'll see in the credits additional levels done by Flarnith, and I had such a hard time making levels for this, because I wanted to keep it purist to Super Mario Brothers, the original.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot you can do in the original. Like, the mechanics that are flat out in the original are surprisingly tame compared to modern standards. There's other things that I wanted to put in that there was no way I was going to have time to put in. I legitimately have no clue how I would have put in the moving platforms and used them for my level editor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely interesting because, like you were saying, a lot of this stuff resulted from just default settings, but all put together, it turns into oh, I'm standing on the ceiling. That's great. I'm Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah, it turned into a fun little kind of a physics glitch fest.
Yes.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and that was my entire point. Also, that piranha plant right there. I love that death theme. That piranha plant right there kept... How'd I put it? So I had outsourced the level generation to Flarnith on 2 of the levels. This one and the very last one. And the way it was originally coded, I had a transparency act as a background. The piranha plant hid behind the ground, which would be the pipe, and he comes up and his sprite shows because there's transparency. And it worked great. until this level got put in, and I wondered why am I not seeing any piranha plants? Are they invisible? No. Oh, it's because the background and the foreground layer are essentially the same layer. Okay, how can I fix this? I can either A, go through, redo all my levels that have a background, which is like 3, and try and make that work. Or B, I put the piranha plants in front and center, and act like it's supposed to be that way. Obviously, I went with the latter. That's one of the nice things I really... Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted to do this jam, because at the end of the day, it's hard to make stuff, man. It's hard to make stuff because you always have that kind of perfectionist attitude. And I really adored the bootleg theme because it just meant at the end of the day, you can hand wave and say, oh yeah, piranha plants, yeah, it's supposed to be in front of the pipes.
Yeah, totally scoped. Part of the charm.
Yeah. Absolutely intentional. But you... Nope. Absolutely intentional, and you can't prove me wrong.
So
until the post-mortem comes in.
Oh, yeah. All this wonderful music. Did you do all that yourself?
Yes. A big inspiration for why I went with Mahreo is because I didn't want to do Mega Mans. I've done Mega Mans before. I wanted to try something new. I was curious if Mahreo would work out the same way. And I was thinking, well, would bootleg Mahreo be fun? And I was thinking back to the Super Mahreo Krat. With the...
oh, yeah, the vine sauce.
Yes. Let's go. And I didn't want to literally rip off the fact that he was using poorly played guitar, but I am a less than year-old guitar player, and that's just kind of how everything sounds.
I know that feeling. I dabble in guitar, and by that I mean I can look at a tab sheet, pluck the string, look at tab sheet, pluck a string.
I've been having a lot of fun with Rocksmith. It's yeah. But so what's funny about the levels is this was actually originally the second level that was made. I put in 1.1 mainly as a test of Tiled to see, hey, can I make a level, have it pull in imports from JSON, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. And this was my, hey, can I make an original level? And I wanted to put in a mechanic, which was the bouncy mushrooms. And because there were bouncy mushrooms, I figured, well, that means you have to have a death pit in some way. So you put in the death pit, you put in the bouncy mushrooms, you make sure you tutorialize the fact that they're a bouncy mushroom, and you hope everything works well. What's sad, though, is that was the only original idea I could come up with, I feel.
Was there any stuff that you felt like that you did want to get in, but just couldn't make it in time, or
Yeah.
wasn't working right more than already not working right, like intentionally?
It was basically the state you see the game. I had it like this probably a week before the jam. Like the last stuff I put in was the sound and the proper level order, which is this one here. And basically, I did want to put in the Hammer Brothers, and I wanted their hammers to bounce once they hit the ground. And I really wanted to put in Bowser and a dungeon level as closure. Yeah. But that week, basically, I got swamped with stuff in real life because my family finally got in stuff to completely rewire a trailer. So I was doing that. And at that point, I had reached minimum viable product. It was always one of those things where you cut the rope and you just say, okay, go. I love this ending, by the way.
This is pretty good.
I needed some closure for the entire thing, and I couldn't think of any, like, okay, well, what now? Oh, you go and get the princess. Well, there's toads and stuff. Okay, you get all the toads and you get the princess in the last level.
Sorry, I'm trying to see how fast I can alternate left and right while shooting these out.
Good luck.
Oh, let's go ahead and hit restart on that.
Hold on the title screen here,
Oh, sure thing.
because this is something that I don't know if people figured out or if people found out or anything like that. The second that people see the press to continue, press to game,
Yeah.
a lot of people press. I don't know how many people actually see press fire for credits.
Press jump for game.
Yeah, it just loops between the two, like 20 times, I think.
I do kind of want to see where this goes.
Works for me. Also, a funny minor thing while that screen is up.
Yeah.
What is the name of the game?
Super Mario? Super Mario Bros?
For me, I followed the same rules with Mega Man's in that as long as it begins with the letter M, sounds like the proper name, but you're speaking with a mouthful of walnuts, it's good enough, and that's it.
I did.
And in order,
I did notice multiple times when I was grabbing the game and looking on the Awful Jam site and everything. I think I saw like 5 different spellings.
yes. What's even funnier is, or what I think is funny, it's a minor thing that no one has noticed. So, if you load up the game and go to the title screen, I have like 5 or 6 title screen names.
Oh.
Like I just spent a little bit doing pixel editing and whatnot to make fake title screens. So sometimes it'll be Super Mahreo, Super Mary, Super etc.
I'll have to go check that out.
To have fun with it.
So you had a good amount of playtesters trying this out.
Yes. It was a lot of primarily me asking random people in the IRC and going, hey, play my game, tell me what you think, and I would ask them the 5 questions. The 5 questions of what did you like the most, what didn't you like the most, when did you feel the most clever, unlimited time and budget, what would you add or remove, magic wand stuff, and I can't remember the last one. Oh no. And yeah, I would just, hey, who wants to play? Give me a little write-up afterwards, and that was extremely helpful in pivoting the game that it is now.
Very nice. All right, Super Mario.
Super Mahreo. Mech. Legitimately, like I said, whatever works.
Here, I'm gonna restart real quick, see if I can get another one of those.
Mm-hmm. Also, in keeping with the, not joke, but I needed to come up with a studio name for myself. And, man, what studio name can I go with? 4 R's. Sure, that works.
It's a very spiff logo there.
I just kind of pulled that out of my ass in one day. I just needed something. What else? Oh, right. That time, world, score, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
As part of the joke, I can pretend that was totally intentional. I had planned on doing actual user interface stuff at some point to keep track of coins and whatnot. And then I said, man, I forget how Unity does its UI stuff. And at this point, I don't care. But I can't just have nothing there for the entire game because people will feel upset. What can I do? Oh, dumb joke. Done.
It sells the point right away. Things are just going to be falling everywhere. Go along with it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. That's what I hoped would be taken away from it.
I love that levitate, like, right out of the cloud of fireballs.
Yes. Originally, you couldn't jump off the fireballs, but because the fireballs spawned below you, you could use them to push yourself upwards. And then later, I didn't think enough people found out about that, so I added in you can also hold jump and just fireball away.
Were there any, I think I remember seeing in the thread, you had one pretty funny glitch where you hit one of the question mark blocks. There's just fire flowers popping out.
Yes. That glitch was actually... It's the old thing about anytime you spawn an object or do a thing, you need to remember to reset the fact that you did that. So the state, the counter for it went over a certain amount to spawn the object. Count up. If it's over that certain amount, you spawn the object. And then you say that the object was spawned, so don't spawn another. And I forgot to do that.
Whoops.
Yep. I had originally planned on adding in a secret options menu that re-enabled stuff like that, but I felt that was one of those time constraint things that I couldn't get to.
Do you plan on doing anything else after the jam, or doing more work on this?
I have a silly idea on... As far as this, I think this is complete. Like, as complete as I'm ever going to get it, I should say.
The total experience.
Yes, it is a complete work of art to me. As for next project, I have a puzzle game, kind of, that is going to be a weird time travel puzzle game that I hope works out well.
Oh, neat. Are we talking like what's the one Jonathan Blow game I can't remember the name of? It's the one where like you're the dude with the tie and there's Goomba guys and you rewind time.
Oh, Braid.
Braid, that's it. Yeah.
Actually, the way I'm thinking of it is like top-down-ish isometric XCOM stuff, right?
Okay.
And everything here is going to be a work in progress. I might scrap everything, but my plan is to have kind of... You're in a room, you can close your eyes, and magically there's a key in front of you. But the problem is you need to explain how the key got there, so there's time travel mechanics in that you need to go back in time and put the key there so that when you open your eyes, there's a key there. So, yeah, anytime... And so the puzzles would mainly revolve around like, hey, I'm locked in this room. My to-do is to get out of here. I need to leave. And, okay, you spawn a key in front of you, you walk out the door, and then the world collapses because you magically used an item that you shouldn't have.
You've created a paradox or something.
Yes. So you add a to-do to your list of put the key back in front of you before you leave. So, yeah, that's where I have it so far. It's just one of those things of motivation and trying to think how it's going to look and how it's going to play and that kind of stuff.
Right on. I've definitely found for myself that writing out a game design doc usually helps me with getting started. Like for Missile Champions, I got written down what I wanted for the title screen, car select, and then when I got to the actual like gameplay part, it's still kind of sparse right now. but because I was going through just on what I already had, I already got to a point where I was motivated enough to continue.
Yeah. Also, that thing you did there in that tunnel with the piranha plants,
Yeah.
literally, that is how I envision people solving that puzzle. Sticking to the ceiling.
Just Spider-Man right over it.
Yep. And yeah, I think what I need to do more of is kind of get out the simple stuff that like no one wants to do, like title screen, ending screen, edit screen, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that helps at least me build motivation to do the other stuff as well. It's just now instead of convincing yourself to do the game, you're convincing yourself to do the most boring parts of the game in order to then do the rest.
Yeah, you've got the technicalities knocked out, and now you already have something where you've started. Now all that's left is the fun stuff.
Mhm.
Ooh, I just barely grabbed that ledge.
Yeah. What's especially funny there, that should have bounced you. A fun little fact is actually the underside of these platforms will bounce you upwards.
Huh. I'm gonna try that.
They're not really ever in a state that you can see this usually. There's, I think, only like one, and that's the one that you can, the green one at the very start of this level. Uh-oh. Goomba got you. Snuck up on you.
Damn, Goomba.
Yeah, I think either that green or orange one at the start would do that for you.
Oh yeah, let me go try that out then. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, I'm stuck to it now.
Yep, because it's setting your velocity upwards.
Is there a cap on the velocity?
Yes, it's manually setting your velocity to, I think, 8 on the small one, and the big one is 12, and the white one at the very end is like 20, I think. It's not additive; it's just flat setting it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great spin you get on that.
Originally, I was planning on having just the bouncy shroom and the big bouncy shroom, the green and orange. And then at the very, very, very end, Buddy Flornith, who, like I said, was helping me out with the levels, said, "I want to make a mushroom-only level for one of them." Okay, cool. That works out great. So he makes the mushroom-only level, and the white mushrooms he puts in and doesn't tell me. And he doesn't even set collisions or anything for him. So there's just these white mushrooms.
It's like a ghost mushroom.
Yeah. And I was thinking about leaving it in as a ghost mushroom, but I was like, no, I can't backpedal on the player like that. I taught them you can jump on mushrooms. I can't unteach them.
Oh,
so
you totally could.
I could have, but I wouldn't feel right doing it.
Actually, yeah, this is the whole mushroom level. There we go.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna see how close down, like how far down below the screen can I go before I die?
I think the way it's coded, it is extremely tight. Like I don't even think you'll be able to do it. Prove me wrong.
I didn't stick though.
Yeah. That seems a bit weird to me.
It didn't bug out. What's going on here?
Yeah, that's
game
why
is
I'm
working.
so confused.
I have a complaint to file.
Well, you'll have to see the man in charge, and that isn't me. So yeah, some things I wish I would have done. Just to end this, I guess. I really, really, really do wish I added in the Bowser. I do wish I added in the Hammer Brothers that threw hammers that bounced everywhere. That seems hilarious and dumb to me. But legitimately, those and a dungeon level. That's really it to me.
I'd definitely say take some time and toss those in. You've already got a lot here, and that should be a fun little weekend project or something to do.
True. I could actually go back and do that and make Mahreo 21 Through the Fire and the Flames.
Very nice title. Then maybe toss in like a Luigi or something bouncing along with you.
Yeah, that'll be the extra mode.
Oh,
I just gotta watch out for
Peach.
Mahreo. I gotta watch out for Mahreo 22. Through the Field of Glory, where the optional DLC gets added to play as Princess Peach.
Peach. Right on. Well, thank you very much for coming on, man. It's a lot of fun playing this.
Thank you very much for having me on. I love talking about this game. It's so dumb to me, but I enjoy every moment of it.
It's nice, dumb fun.
Yeah, and that's all I wanted it to be.
All right. Well, that ends Jamflix and Chill. Thank you, everybody that's watched the whole week. And thank you, everybody, to all of the guests that came on and showed off your games. And thank you for watching me play through them somewhat successfully. I hope to return for the awful Winter Game Jam coming up soon. And everybody have a good night.
Never spend over $20 on a computer game.
Never spend under $30. Good night.